The first time Carl saw me naked, I told myself it was an accident. The steam from the shower clung to the bathroom mirror, blurring the edges of his stunned face as he stood frozen in the doorway, his wife's voice calling from downstairs. My heart raced, not from shame, but from the thrill of his eyes lingering a second too long. That moment ignited a fire that burned my sister's marriage to ashes, and part of me along with it. Before I dive into this twisted tale, I need to pause and say thank you to my subscribers. You're the reason I keep sharing these raw, messy chapters. And if you're new here, welcome. I see you lurking. Hit that subscribe button. It's free, but it fuels this channel more than my third glass of Cabernet. Now, grab your drink, lean in, and don't forget to rip me apart in the comments. Let's go. I am Laura, the fun aunt with a Pinterest-perfect Instagram and a soul full of cracks. My older sister, Donna, is the kind of woman who bakes charity auction pies and volunteers at animal shelters. Her husband, Carl, a former college linebacker turned insurance broker with a smile that could melt a frostbite. They lived in a red brick colonial in Lexington, Kentucky, where I crashed for 2 weeks after my divorce. The guest bathroom's broken lock changed everything. It started innocently. Donna hosted a backyard barbecue the day I arrived. Carl manned the grill, sleeves rolled up, laughing as grease popped against his tattooed forearm. "You're gonna burn the patties," I teased, handing him a beer. Our fingers brushed. He didn't pull away. "Better charred than raw," he said, holding my gaze. The air thickened. Later, Donna chirped, "Laura, why don't you shower first? You smell like airport." The water was scalding, my thoughts louder than the spray. I had replayed Carl's laugh all afternoon. Low, warm, dangerous. Then the door creaked open. "Donna, I am out of," Carl's voice died. I didn't cover myself. Couldn't. His jaw clenched as his eyes trailed down, hungry and horrified. For 5 seconds, we were statues. "Carl?" Donna's voice echoed up the stairs. He slammed the door. My knees buckled. Guilt? No. Exhilaration. At dinner, Carl avoided my eyes. Donna prattled about her yoga class. I nudged his foot under the table. He jerked back like I had electrocuted him. Later, I found him alone on the porch. Fireflies blinked between us. "Today was a mistake," he muttered. "You didn't make a mistake," I said. He exhaled sharply. "You're her sister. And you're human." The next morning, a note slid under my door. "Meet me by noon. Cedar Ridge Trail." The dirt crunched beneath my sneakers as I climbed Cedar Ridge Trail, the July sun pressing down like a judgment. Carl's truck was already parked at the trailhead, hidden behind a thicket of pines. My throat tightened. This is insanity, I told myself. But my legs kept moving. He stood at the overlook, arms crossed, staring at the valley below. When he turned, his face was all sharp edges, guilt, anger, want. "You shouldn't have come," he said, but his voice cracked. "You wrote the note." I stepped closer. The scent of his cologne, something woodsy, expensive, mixed with sweat. "This can't happen." He backed up, heels skidding near the cliff's edge. "Donna would. Donna's at her book club." My fingers brushed his wrist. "And you're here." He flinched but didn't pull away. For a heartbeat, the world stilled. Then his hands gripped my waist, rough and desperate, and we were kissing like we had both been starving. The rational part of me screamed, "Stop." But the rest? The rest was gasoline. We met twice a week after that. Motel rooms with flickering neon signs, his office after hours, the back seat of his truck parked deep in the woods. Every lie I told Donna, yoga class, grocery run, migraine, felt like tossing a lit match into dry grass. "You're distant lately," Donna said one evening, chopping celery for a salad. Her wedding band glinted under the kitchen lights. Is it the divorce? I forced a laugh. Just adjusting. She tilted her head, her hazel eyes, our eyes, narrowing. You would tell me if something was wrong, right? Always. The word tasted like ash. Later, Carl traced the scar on my shoulder, a relic from a childhood bike crash, and said, "We need to end this." I rolled onto him, pinning his wrists. "Then why are you still here?" He groaned, half agony, half surrender. "I don't know." Danny lived next door. Mid-40s, divorced, with a beagle named Gus, and a habit of lingering near our shared fence. I would wave politely while sipping morning coffee, unaware he had been watching us. The first time I noticed was at the motel. Carl had just left to grab ice. A shadow moved behind the gauzy curtain. I froze, heart jackhammering, but when I yanked the fabric aside, the parking lot was empty. Paranoid much? Carl smirked later, twisting a lock of my hair around his finger. But 2 days later, as I hurried from his office, a voice called, "Laura?" Danny stood by the elevator, holding a takeout bag. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Small world. Donna started showing up unannounced. At my apartment, the gym, even the library. "I miss you," she would say, but her gaze darted around the room, searching for ghosts. One night, I overheard them fighting. "You're never present anymore," Donna shouted. "Work's insane," Carl snapped. "Not everything's about you." A vase shattered. I pressed my ear to the guest room wall, nausea rising. The next morning, Donna hugged me goodbye before her shift at the shelter. "Love you," she whispered, like a plea. "Love you more?" I had to lie. We got reckless. At a gas station 20 miles outside town, Carl kissed me in broad daylight, his hands sliding under my shirt. A truck horn blared. We broke apart, panting, to see Danny idling at the pump, Gus hanging out the window. He tipped his hat. Slow. Knowing. That night, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo of Carl's truck at Cedar Ridge Trail. Then a text. "We need to talk." The text from Danny burned in my hand like a lit fuse. I paced my apartment, wine sloshing over the rim of my glass. "Meet me. 8 p.m. The old mill bridge. No demands, no threats, just cold certainty. Carl was out of town, Donna volunteering late. I had no choice but to face him. The bridge was skeletal in the dusk, its wooden planks creaking under my boots. Danny leaned against his truck, Gus panting at his feet. He didn't smile. "You took your time," he said. "What do you want?" I snapped. He tossed a manila envelope at me. Inside, photos. Carl and me at the motel, the gas station, Cedar Ridge Trail. My stomach lurched. "I am not here to blackmail you," he said, reading my panic. "I am here because Donna hired me." The world tilted. Donna. Sweet, clueless Donna, who cried during dog food commercials. She suspected Carl was cheating months ago, Danny said. Hired me to tail him. Imagine her surprise when it led to you. I gripped the railing to stay upright. She knows? Every detail. Every lie. His voice softened. She wanted proof for the divorce. To gut him financially. But when she saw it was you, he trailed off, lighting a cigarette. She changed the plan. What plan? You'll have to ask her. Donna was waiting in my living room when I got home. Her face was a porcelain mask, her hands steady as she sipped chamomile tea. "You look like hell," she said. "You set me up. I didn't make you fuck my husband." Her laugh was brittle. But I will admit I hoped. Needed him to slip up so I could leave clean. Why not just confront me? Because I wanted you to feel it. Her eyes glistened. Every text you ignored. Every lie you fed me. Now you get to choke on it. She stood, smoothing her skirt. There's more. You're not the only one keeping secrets. A photo fluttered onto the coffee table. Donna and Danny, tangled in a motel bedsheet. "We've been seeing each other since February," she said. "Turns out misery does love company." I gagged.
"You're
"With Danny? He's better in bed than Carl. Less talk, more action." She paused at the door. "Oh, and Laura?"
get tested."
"Carl's got a rash he didn't mention, right?" I drove to Carl's office in a downpour. He was on the phone, laughing, until I slapped the photos on his desk. "Donna knows," I said. His face paled. "We can fix this." "Fix it?" "She's divorcing you. And Danny."
"Danny?"
He frowned. "The neighbor? What about him?" The realization hit like a bullet. Carl didn't know. Donna had outplayed us all. I didn't go home. Didn't answer Carl's calls. At 3 a.m., I slumped into a CVS and bought a test. 2 pink lines. In the parking lot, I screamed until my throat bled. The pregnancy test sat on my dashboard, glaring up at me like an accusation. Rain lashed the windshield, distorting the streetlights into watery ghosts. I couldn't go home. Couldn't face Carl. Couldn't outrun Donna's words. Get tested. I drove to Danny's. He answered the door in sweatpants, Gus wagging at his heels. "Laura?" I shoved the photos of him and Donna into his chest. "You're supposed to be her private investigator, not her fuck buddy." He didn't flinch. "Come inside." His living room smelled like dog and bourbon. I paced while he poured 2 drinks. "Donna played us both," he said. "She wanted Carl ruined. I wanted something else."
"What?"
He handed me a glass.
"You."
I laughed, sharp and hollow. "Bullshit. Why do you think I tipped you off at the gas station? Sent that text?" He stepped closer. "I've watched you for months. The way you laugh when you're nervous. How you bite your thumb when you read. You're not like her. Donna's my sister. And she's gonna take that baby from you." My hand flew to my stomach. "How do you know about?" "She has already filed." He pulled a document from his desk. "Petition for guardianship. Grounds, moral unfitness. She can't do this. She's got photos, Laura. Motel receipts. Witnesses." His voice dropped. "But I have the originals. And I will burn them all if you want."
"Why?"
He cupped my face. "Because I am done being her weapon." 2 days later, sharp cramps bet me double in the cereal aisle. Danny drove me to the ER, his hand crushing mine. "Breathe," he kept saying. "Just breathe." The doctor said it was stress. Threatened miscarriage. "Bed rest," she ordered. No drama. Danny carried me to his truck. "You're staying with me?"
"Why?"
I whispered. "Because I can't watch her destroy you." Donna called at midnight. "Where's my sister, Danny?" He muted the phone, eyes locked on mine. "Tell her," I mouthed. "She's safe," he said. "Bring her to the house now. Or I send the photos to Mom." The line went dead. "We can't go," Danny said. I gripped his arm. "We end this." Donna stood in the foyer, Carl's divorce papers in one hand, a USB drive in the other. "There's footage," she said, "from the motel. You really want to see?" Danny stepped forward. "Enough, Donna." Her smile splintered. "You're choosing her?" "I am choosing not to hate myself anymore." She hurled the drive at the wall. "Get out." In the truck, Danny gripped the wheel too tight. "She will leak it." "The footage." "Let her." I stared at the road. "I am keeping the baby." He pulled over, eyes blazing. "Then let me help." "Let me."
Crash.
Donna's SUV T-boned us. The world spun in shards of glass and screams. Danny's body slumped over me, his arm still braced against the steering wheel as Donna's headlights glared through the shattered windshield. Smoke clawed at my throat. The baby. I pressed a hand to my stomach, blood slicking my fingers. "Danny?" I shook him, his face pale under a gash splitting his brow. "Danny." Sirens wailed in the distance. Donna staggered from her SUV, unharmed, her hands clapped over her mouth. I didn't mean.
You did.
I screamed. They pried Danny from the wreckage. I lost consciousness in the ambulance, waking to fluorescent lights and a monitor's steady beep. A nurse hovered over me. The baby's still hanging on, she said gently. But you need to stay still. Where's Danny? Her silence said everything. Donna visited first. She stood in the doorway, her designer sweater frayed at the sleeves. The police took my statement. They're calling it an accident. You killed him. He swerved, she whispered. To protect you. I hurled my water cup at her. Get out. Danny's graveside was empty except for me, Gus, and a bored priest. Rain soaked through my black dress as the casket lowered. I am sorry, I told the dirt. For all of it. Gus nuzzled my hand. I took his leash. Carl came that night, hollow-eyed and reeking of whiskey. Donna's filing for divorce. Taking the house, the savings. Everything. Join the club. He stared at my belly. Is it yours? I laughed bitterly. Does it matter? He left without answering. A week later, a lawyer arrived. Danny's will left me his house, his savings, Gus. For the baby, the note read, give them a better story. I sold the house.
Kept the dog.
The baby came early, a girl with Danny's stubborn chin. I named her Grace. Donna sent a stuffed bear with no card. I burned it. We moved to a coastal town in Maine, where the salt air scrubbed the past raw. I told Grace about Danny, the hero version. The real one haunted my dreams. 5 years later, an envelope arrived. Donna's handwriting. Laura, I am dying. Ovarian cancer.
Karma, right?
I need to say it. I am sorry. Not for Carl.
Not for Danny.
For making you hate yourself. You were my sister first.
Donna.
I threw it in the fireplace. Watch the edges curl to ash. Grace runs on the beach now, Gus limping behind her. Some nights, I still see Danny in the waves, his laugh, his hands, the way he looked at me before the world burned. I don't forgive myself, but I breathe. I survive. And when Grace asks, where's Aunt Donna?
I say, gone.
Some truths are too heavy for small shoulders. To my ride or dies in the comments. This story wrecked me to write, but your support kept me going. If you're screaming at Laura, sobbing for Danny, or want to strangle Donna through the screen, drop a comment. Let's rage, heal, and dissect every messy choice together. New here? Hit subscribe. It's free, and you'll make my chaotic writer heart soar. Share this with anyone who loves a twisted, tissue-worthy tale. Until next time, stay brave, stay messy.